I'm going to turn the volume up. Hi.
Everyone,
We can't hear.
can you get the video on?
They're on and we can barely hear them.
Well, then unplug that.
Who are all those people at Dennis and Jenny's house?
Oh.
Well, where's that, Cindy? Here? Where do you turn it up? Where do you turn it up, Dennis?
I don't know.
If you don't have audio, Jenny, then what works? The only thing that
Uh-oh.
works.
Now we lost them. You can't leave us
He has
here.
to push the button.
You do have audio. We can hear you.
We can't hardly hear you.
Push the Zoom button.
What am I doing now?
Push the Zoom button.
Where's Zoom? Oh my God. Debbie, what are we doing? Dennis left us.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I have
Turkey.
no idea. Tell you how to.
Yeah, I gotta
do it
go to my
now.
Gmail, right?
Go to Chrome.
Well, don't I have to get to her link?
It should be open.
Yeah, but not her link.
Okay, now I'm gonna go.
Got it, Eileen.
So we should unplug that little speaker. What about that new big speaker you got?
Well, it wasn't working the last time I tried it for some reason. You couldn't Bluetooth to it. I don't know why, but it wasn't working. So, I don't know.
Can't you come back for a minute?
Oh, we'll find it.
No,
There we go.
We'll find
We
it.
got it
You know,
right there.
you're big.
No, right here.
Yep.
He goes, "You're a big girl, whatever."
Aw,
Launch meeting.
He told me to put my big girl
There you
panties
go.
on.
We're back.
can you hear me?
We'll just sit closer.
Yep.
We can't hardly hear you guys. I don't know what
Yeah.
to do, but I brought two friends.
I'm glad. Thank you. I can hear you. Can you hear me okay now?
Take it off.
We can
Unplug
hear
this.
you, it's
Take
just
this
slow.
out. Now let me hear you.
Okay.
No.
What do you
Well,
think?
let me turn on that. Then.
Okay, Debbie. Okay, well, why don't you mute us while we're talking, but I'll introduce you to who these people are.
Okay, I will mute you.
Okay, you
But go ahead
recognize
and introduce
Debbie?
them.
Whoops. You remember Debbie?
Yeah,
Donna?
Debbie.
Debbie Lemure? She went to a couple meetings, and this
I
is Cindy.
remember.
Get your face over here. Cindy's new, and she just turned 65.
Congratulations.
There's
Thank you.
Cindy. Okay, now, you guys
That was a
mute.
long time ago.
We'll try to,
You're just a youngster.
Yes, just a youngster.
Okay, you're muted, so you don't have to worry anymore, Ginny. You can say anything you want. Oh, welcome everybody. We
Thank
still have
you.
another minute, so
Well, that's why I bought this contraption, because I know people were having a hard time hearing me, at least on other Zoom meetings.
yeah. Well, we can hear. I hear you fine now too. Better than last week.
Yeah, good.
Yep. That's great. Let me just get this off of participants. There we go. And chat. Okay. And Jock's here. Hi, Jock. Been a while.
Hey,
Howdy from Texas.
now can they
Yeah.
hear us?
That's pretty wonderful.
Can you hear me, Donna?
Yes, we can.
yes,
Yes.
Yep.
We're old people. We don't know what to do.
So speaking of old people, I'm one of them. But anyway, at some point since I got my vaccine last Friday,
the first or second?
second. So I still want to wait to see if it's going to be effective against the variant.
Yeah,
I don't know how long that'll take. I hope not very long. But so at some point, hopefully in the future, soon, we'll be able to meet in person. That means then that I would change the format of our online. So to maybe meet like on a Sunday, I'm thinking, and do more seminar kind of thing, you know, where we do guided meditation, but then we also do, you know, some like, what are we learning, that kind of thing. So, because in the summertime, I don't do nearly as much research as I do in the winter, because I want to be out in the garden.
Nothing's coming through here.
So, I'm going to mute Ginny because I can hear you chatting back there. Let me do that.
Good idea.
Well, welcome everybody. And I see Maggie found us. Welcome. Although this is not Maggie's first, it's her first time with us personally, but I know that she watched the video of last week's class, so she's up to date anyway. So why don't we just go around and say our names and where we're calling from, just as a way to, and if there's something you want to share, that would be great too. Okay, so why don't we start with Aline?
Hi, I'm Aline Hoffman, and I am in northeastern Connecticut.
Thank you, Aline. And Colin?
Hi, I'm Colin. I'm in Tampa, Florida, where it's kind of a gloomy day today here, but
Aw.
I'm here.
Welcome.
I'm in.
And Kit?
I'm Kit Mack in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and our snow is receding like an old man's hairline.
Good. Yay. And Anne?
Good afternoon. I'm also in Oshkosh, and although the snow is finally going away, today's a pretty sunny day, lots of wind today, and nice to see so many faces and some new ones. Welcome to everybody. And I'm in.
Thank you, Anne. Carol?
I'm Carol Zarnecki. I'm in Oshkosh too, and that wind today makes me think like this is really March. Super windy.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm in.
Thank you, Carol. Maureen?
I'm Maureen Paffenroth. I'm in Oshkosh. I started back with exercise classes at the senior center today.
Oh,
They've
wow.
been having them, but I haven't been going. But now that I've had both of my vaccines, and most of the people there have had most of their vaccines too. And so they're not doing any aerobics because they say people want to take their mask off when they're doing aerobics. So it's all pretty much weights. They said you got to do your aerobics at home, I guess, with your mask off.
Yeah.
But I'm finding it interesting, and I'm deciding which days and which times work out best for me. But it's good to see everybody again.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. Great.
Even with a mask. I'm in.
Thank you, Maureen. Carol?
Hi, I'm Carol Thomas. I'm in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It's kind of a gloomy day today, but it's not too bad. I'm in.
Dorothy?
Hi, I'm Dorothy Gayhart-Kunz. I'm in Oshkosh. It's a sunny day. If it's windy out, I haven't even heard it. I've been inside doing stuff. I put up my leprechaun wreath today on the outside of the house. And I watched a high school basketball team playing with black masks on the other night. I couldn't believe that these young kids could, because they must be breathing hard and everything, wearing masks.
Yeah, really.
Anyhow, I'm in.
Welcome. And Jock?
Jock, excuse me. Jock Bethune, Arlington, Texas, Dallas, Fort Worth area. Finally on one of these Tuesday afternoon calls. I've had so many conflicts in the last several weeks, so I'm finally back.
I'm glad you are. Thank you, Jock. And Robert?
Hello, everybody. I'm Robert in Oshkosh also. And it's Sunday. It feels like warm weather.
Oh, good. I haven't been out yet, so I can't tell. Thank you. Thank you. Lisa.
Hi, Lisa from Elverson, Pennsylvania. I feel like I should move to Oshkosh or something, right? So,
You're very
welcome. It's been a howling wind today, but that's great too, because it's really moving stuff around. And with that, I'm in.
Welcome. And Ginny. Oh, you're muted. Let me unmute you, because otherwise you have to run across the room, right? Okay.
Yes,
Am I okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm so glad to be here. I wasn't here the last 2 weeks, and we're going to be going down to Florida. We're turning off our phones for 2-3 weeks. So we're going to try to see you when we're down there.
Oh, good.
But today, this is my 2 best buddies in our support group, and I'll let Debbie introduce herself, but she's been at least a few times. Donna knows her. And Cindy's brand new, and she's her Medicare birthday. We're having a party. But I'll let them explain. But I'm Jenny from Oshkosh, and I'm grateful to be here. Yeah, I'm in. Your turn.
Hi, I'm Debbie. I'm from Neenah, which is just a little ways from here. And yes, we're here for Cindy's birthday. And I have been a few times with Jenny to the senior center when we had it there. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Great. Welcome, Jenny. Welcome.
Debbie.
Debbie, thank you.
There's Cindy.
I'm Cindy. I'm from Amra, which isn't too far from Oshkosh. And yes, I am officially Medicare age now. So hanging out with my best friends that have given me the best birthday ever. And glad to meet everybody.
Wonderful.
And Donna,
yeah,
this is her absolute first time to any meditation mindfulness.
Okay, thank you.
So if Donna, could you tell her a little bit about you and kind of what's up? Because I think she's very brave to be doing this. That comes with Medicare.
I also had shared, I'll let Maggie finish, oh no, wait a minute, Holly came too. So I'll let everybody continue to check in, and then I'll share a little bit, okay, for you, Cindy. So Holly, we're just saying our names and where we're calling from.
You're
You're
muted.
muted, Holly.
Holly's muted.
You're still muted.
Lily, or what is?
Holly, you're muted.
Holly.
I don't think she can hear us.
No, can you hear us? There you go. Okay, now. Oh,
nuts.
Still can't hear you. So the only thing to do is to actually log out and then log back in again. And then we should be able to hear you. Yeah, because no.
Oh,
Can't hear you.
at those meetings with another buddy.
Sorry. No.
He's so nice.
So why don't we move on to Maggie while you're figuring that out? Maggie.
Hi, I'm Maggie Lang. I'm from Oshkosh also. I've done the meditation years ago, probably 3-4 years ago, maybe 6 or so with Donna a few times. And then I was still working, so I didn't get there during the school year. But now I just have been wanting to get at this for quite a while and just kept forgetting. And even last Tuesday, I didn't look for the email in the morning. So, but I did watch it. I watched it several times and did the meditation several times this past week. So I enjoy it. It's very good.
Yeah, thank you, Maggie. And generally when we finish talking, we say I'm in, so that way I don't talk over you, okay?
Okay, I'm in.
Okay. And what I shared with Maggie, which is she was checking, for the people who are new, after the class is up, I put it up on YouTube so that you can go back and refresh. And last week, because I had anticipated Maggie coming, I did some introduction to meditation. And so, Cindy, what I can do is send you the link to that space so that it really goes into the beginner's kind of a sense of what meditation is. I see that Holly is back. Let's see if we can hear you. Holly, can you hear us? Still can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yay.
I've got an outside, that I put on my computer to hear everybody's voices. My computer is old, so my volume is up as far as it goes.
Wow.
And I can hear some people, but especially when you do our good meditation, your voice kind of disappears and I can't hear much. So sometimes this works and sometimes it doesn't. Well, I've disconnected it now, so now you can hear me. I'm from Oshkosh.
And that's why it's good if, you know, if it does break up, you can always go back and actually listen to it on YouTube because it is recorded, which reminds me that if anybody says something that they would prefer not to be recorded, let me know that, because then I can always take that part out, or I can blur your face if you want. I've learned how to do that too in YouTube. So all this technology. Anyway, okay. So today, what we're going to do, and I'll kind of, Ginny, I mean, Cindy, I will give you some instructions as we go along too. And today we're going to focus on mindfulness of emotions. But first, I happened to come across this article which really piqued my interest, because the title of it was Buddhism and Speed, Busyness is Laziness. And I thought, okay, so, and it was written by Reggie Ray, so I read it. Reggie Ray, I have his book, I don't have it right here, but he wrote The Practice of Pure Awareness. And in it, he gives you instructions on how to experience pure awareness. It's a very thick book, so anyway. And the point he made was that we live our lives in busy mode, okay? So it's unrealistic. In other words, our culture values busyness, and that if we sit down to meditate and expect our minds not to be busy, that's really not realistic, because for the last however many hours we've been up and how many years, our minds have been busy. So to expect the mind to just stop when you sit down is yeah, it's not going to happen. And he says, I'll quote him, it's not just that our minds are too busy, it's that we have a mind state that it's good to be busy. And when you ask someone to sit down and be with themselves, they go, I can't do that. I don't have time. I don't have time for that. I don't have time to be with myself. So that's a great question to ask yourself. Do I really have time to just be with myself? And that brings up a question, I guess, you know, if you don't like yourself, then you're not going to want to be with yourself. And I know that I read an article a couple weeks ago that some research projects or papers that the results were people who felt good about themselves were always rated themselves happier, and that predicted happiness more than anything else. So if you don't want to sit with yourself, you may want to start working on that. Okay. And the other thing about busyness, Reggie Ray says, you know, it's the problem is not the amount of things that we have to do, it's the attitude. So, and he says it's your fear of space. And busyness in the Tibetan tradition is considered the most extreme form of laziness, because when you are busy, you're on the treadmill. Kind of interesting. Interesting to think of busyness as laziness, isn't it? So you just ask yourself, am I too busy to relate to myself? It's a good question to ask. So our minds are habituated to value busyness. And Jonathan Faust, who's a meditation teacher, you can find him online, and he says that when he sits down to meditate, he expects to pay his dues for the first 10 minutes. So, which is kind of interesting, that to expect, again, that kind of, if you do practice, how many people practice silent meditation? Let's say there's about half of you, I'd say. About half of you, okay. Maybe 3/4. Okay, that's great. So anyway, so when you sit down to meditate, give yourself longer than 10 minutes anyway to watch your mind. I do tend to notice every morning when I'm meditating, I'll look up at the clock and see how long it takes for me to recognize, oh yeah, time to be here. It's usually around 7 minutes for me, but anyway. Okay, so he goes on to say that giving up this state of busyness means that you still get things done, but you get things done by moving through life with a relaxed attitude, which is kind of inviting. And for me, even for example, this morning, now Lisa also comes to the virtual Zendo every morning. That's 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern. And by the way, if you guys are interested, you know, you're all welcome. Anyway, so during my meditation this morning, it was about 10 minutes in, and that's when I said to myself, okay, time to be here. And then I had experienced this feeling of sadness, which is like, okay, and then I got curious about it. What's the sadness coming up? And the words came, nothing to figure out, nothing to do, nothing to fix. And it's like, oh, that's interesting. It's like this little ego death, because the ego wants to be busy and making my life perfect. So it was quite interesting, you know, as I sat there anyway. It's like, okay, let that go. And then, of course, the beautiful thing is, and repeating to myself, nowhere to go, nothing to do, nothing to be, does help me to be more present. And so once I did that, then, of course, then there's this wonderful feeling of freedom, you know, and the sense of vastness that comes. And the body relaxes. And, you know, and there was my old friend Joy showing up. So that is what we find when we stop being busy. We can just open. Yeah, that's what's there, here, all the time. Joy, just, you know, clouded over by busyness. Anyway, okay. So our emotions can certainly be a distraction. And if we follow it, it can take us down into a rabbit hole. But if we can step back and be curious, then we get more of a sense of, first off, we don't let them entangle us, you know, and that's really an important piece. So it's also good to take a look at your beliefs about emotions, okay? So maybe as I ask these questions, ask yourself this question. First off, do I believe that emotions have to be controlled? So just ask yourself that. Or do I believe that they're uncontrollable? Or maybe some of them are uncontrollable. And then the other question to ask yourself is, do I believe that emotions are good or bad?
They just are.
So there's believing in emotions that are, let's say, in fact, there's a study at UC Berkeley in 2019 where they say that believing in emotions that are generally helpful and that they can be changed when they're problematic can really makes a difference in terms of allowing us to not get to recover quickly from a hurt. For example, you arrive at a holiday party at your best friend's house and she ignores you, and so you feel hurt. So you can either act out the hurt or you can reappraise that. You know, she must be, you know, distracted by her host duties. So that the reappraisal is one of the ways we can manage our emotions, and is a way to sort of step back and recover and not act out. And then
Donna?
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Sure.
For those of you that do know me or maybe don't, emotion regulation has been a really thing I have to work on, living with depression. And so something Donna has taught me, don't feed the emotion. If it's a negative one, like if I go to a party and someone's rude to me or whatever, instead of, like we talk about throwing darts, instead of, oh, you know, what, doesn't she like me, or don't I look good enough, or how dare she treat me that way, I'm feeding it, and you know who's feeling worse is me.
Right.
And Donna taught us that emotions only last, what do you say, 90 seconds?
Right, right.
So if I do get hurt, let it hurt for 90 and then don't feed it, right?
Right, you got it.
Yeah.
Yay, Ginny.
Well, I've been trying to do this 100 years.
Let me see. Yeah, it's called the 90-second rule. I was going to mention that later, but it's according to Jill Bolte Taylor. We've talked about her before on here. And in her book, My Stroke of Insight, she's a brain scientist. By the way, that's the subtitle of the book. But anyway, she says emotion to last for only 90 seconds once triggered. The chemical released by the brain surges through the body, and we have a physiological experience. If an emotion lasts for more than 90 seconds, it's because we're replaying the story in our mind. That's an important piece. If an emotion lasts more than 90 seconds, it's because we're replaying the story in our mind. So consciously or not, we've chosen to hold on to the emotion.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a really important piece to remember.
Then Donna, how do you address unconsciously? Because I'm learning, I am at the point now where with cognitive therapy, I'm able to consciously realize I'm doing it.
Great.
But for many years, I didn't realize unconsciously I'm doing it. So how do you tell newbies, newcomers, how to recognize unconscious?
Yeah, good question. Good question. I think the more we start to pay attention to what's going on in our bodies, the body is going to tell you, it's going to react quicker, and it's easier to pay attention to what's going on in your body than it is to try to figure out what you're thinking. So if you feel your body tighten up, you're probably feeling a negative emotion. It's like, okay, and that's when you get curious. It's like, my body's, I'm tightening up. What's going on? What am I feeling? What's going on? Yeah. Yeah. Does that answer your question, kind of?
That's a good, what do you guys think? I think that's a pretty good, right, Carol?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and there's a lot of other ways too. And next week I want to go over that. I didn't list that today, but there's a lot of ways to, first off, just to deal with difficult emotions that are really practical. One of them is to learn how to calm the parasympathetic, but we're going to go over that next week. So anyway, okay. So the other thing is that, as Jumpo says, my teacher, my Zen teacher, as he says, the emotions are just information.
Yes.
So it's like the phone is ringing, get the information, and then hang up the phone.
Yeah. Can I add something, Donna?
Sure, please do. I know you did the Mondo. I know you did the Mondo Zen process with Suzanne, and Lisa's going to be doing it with Josen soon. So anybody want to do it, curious, let me know. But anyway, yeah.
I think the Mondo Zen, or it was you, that I like this, where they said, the phone is ringing, pick it up. It's a bad emotion, hang up. Right?
Yeah.
You know, just say, no, I'm not taking that call, and hang up. Or wrong number today, you know, like, you're not going to get me today.
Yeah, it's a choice.
Is that a good way to say it?
It's a choice. Yeah, it's a choice.
Yeah.
And you can choose to, unless if you've already gotten the information, then definitely hang up the phone. But if you haven't gotten the information, you don't want to hang up the phone yet.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm thinking, okay, so I've been working on dealing with anxiety when I speak to a group of peers, like every morning when I check in. It's really easy when I'm teaching, because I know what I'm going to say. But in the mornings, it's like, you know, think on your feet, and now you got to come up with something. Hopefully you'll sound smart or clever or deeply authentic or whatever, you know, but you got to do it now. And it's like, really, so I've been working with this for months. So the anxiety comes up, and I tried for a while to suppress it, but that didn't make it go away. We just try to act like it wasn't there. And so I'm still working on it, but at this point, I'm at where it's important to expand, to hold the anxiety with compassion, and then to share, and also recognize that I'm not going to be that good at thinking on my feet. I need time to process, and then I can be brilliant. Anyway, at least I can tell myself that. What, Ginny?
And that's okay, right?
Yeah.
And that's okay. If that's not a strength of yours, instead of judging it, that's okay.
It has to be. Exactly. Exactly. But also to be able to hold that anxiety with compassion. And so that's—
Can you explain that for Cindy?
Yeah. Okay. So it's part of it is being able to calm your body down. Okay. So all of a sudden, so I'm feeling the anxiety. So it's like, recognize what's going on in the body and soften it. And then also it's like, okay, now if you're about to speak and there's anxiety coming up, if it's coming up in my body that and the best way to keep it relaxed is to use for me, it would be, in that particular emotion, would be to use my chest, because that's where I feel the anxiety. It's like, is to use that as an anchor. Not everybody knows what an anchor is, but that's what let's say if you sit down to meditate and you bring up, you pay attention to the breath, And every time your mind wanders, you come back to the breath. So the mind is anchored to your breath. Okay. So so to do that for me, if I pay attention to how and keep part of my attention on the sensations in my chest. Okay. Then that's the way because that's also where I feel compassion. So if I keep my attention on something physical, because the body's always in the moment, that's going to help me stay present. And yeah, so that, and it does make the anxiety go less, but I'm hoping that I can even get bigger. And so that it's, the anxiety doesn't get in the way of me being able to think on my feet, you know, to be able to be that more spontaneous, or to slow down. That's the other part too, because in our culture, we expect people to get right to the point instead of like, okay, wait a minute, let me just make sure this feels like the right thing to say, you know, which wouldn't that be wonderful if we could really slow down and not have to get to the point right away. Anyway, so that's my story. Does that make sense? I know I put a lot in that, but.
That's it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Okay, great. All right. So the thing about emotions being information, right? The other perspective, which I think is even more succinct, there's a woman named Susan David who teaches psychology at Harvard, and she says, emotions are data, not directives. So that's a good way to remember it. They're data, not directives. We don't have to do what the emotion is telling us. Just because we feel sad doesn't mean we have to act on it. Especially if we feel angry, doesn't mean we have to act on it. So, let's see. I want to take a look at, okay, I've kind of skipped around, so I want to make sure I don't miss, okay. There's three ways to deal with emotion. Well, three general ways, and that are most often used. The first one is reappraisal, which I talked about. The second one is suppression, which I also talked about a little bit. And suppression is to act as if you're not feeling it, okay, but you're still feeling it. Now, it's interesting because in our culture, the studies that they've done, it's shown that suppression really is trouble for our well-being, okay? But in Asian cultures, suppression is seen as creating social harmony. So it depends on what culture you're in, too, in terms of what you believe about your emotions. And the third way is to accept. And that's really what we're practicing when we practice mindfulness, when we're practicing meditation. We, whatever comes up while we're meditating, we get to practice paying attention to it, acknowledging it, getting the message, letting it go. And if it's a message that we've already gotten, then we acknowledge what's come up and we let it go. And we keep practicing accepting what comes up and letting it go. So that's why we practice mindfulness anyway. Dorothy, did you raise your hand? No, I guess not.
Accepting.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, so acceptance. I think one of the, and also another easy way to remember how to deal with an emotion, like while you're meditating, is to use that RAIN acronym, R-A-I-N, recognize, accept, investigate, and not identify. Okay. So, looking at recognition, okay, so that's just really, the best way to recognize an emotion is to name it. So, oh yeah, there's anger arising, there's sadness arising, my old friend, frustration, whatever, just as you're sitting and meditating, just simply label it in a non-judgmental way, sort of a monotone kind of accepting way, and you get to practice accepting, okay? So accepting is really receiving. You're welcoming the experience of the moment and fully in touch with your emotions, your thoughts, your sensations without reacting. And it's really an act of equanimity also. In fact, there's research that shows that people who tend to accept negative emotions have a lower amount of negative emotions. It sounds like a paradox, doesn't it? But that's what the research shows. So another good motivation for practicing accepting. Okay, and then the second one, I, for investigate. And that's the thing I brought up earlier about paying attention to your body. When an emotion comes up, to pay attention, how does it affecting your body? Because if you start thinking about it, then the mind spins off into analyzing and fixing and all that. But if you can pay attention to just how the emotion feels in your body, again, that's that 90-second rule. You're aware of how it's feeling, you know, maybe tightness in the chest or clenching the jaw. Depends on each person. They react a little bit differently. But you just notice and then label that, oh yeah, my stomach feels tight or my chest is collapsing. Yes, Ginny.
You know where I always got stuck, not so much anymore, but ruminating.
Yeah.
So would that be like, I receive it, but if I reacted, that would be ruminating. That would be like chewing the cud with the cow, just hanging on to it or keep on bringing up, staying on it, hooked on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So, so that's why if you then shift your attention away from the emotion and just label to yourself, I'm feeling tightness in my chest. I'm feeling all the ways it's manifesting in your body, as opposed to trying to analyze it. So that's what investigate means.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And then let's see. Recognize, accept, investigate, and then not identify. Okay. So just like last week when we talked about we are not our thoughts, we're also not our emotions. So we're much bigger than our emotions. And so I'll let you, one of the ways to disidentify and not identify with emotions is to practice in changing your language in the way you use your language, okay? So I'm gonna have you ask you to try this, okay? Say to yourself, I'm really frustrated, and try to remember a time when somebody did something that you felt frustrating. So, and then say to yourself, I feel frustrated or angry. Choose your word, okay? I feel frustrated or angry at what she did or what he did. So just take a moment, say that to yourself, and notice how it feels in your body. Okay. Or you just say I am sad, I'm frustrated that I have to wear a mask to work out in the gym. Just try that. I'm sad or I'm frustrated that I have to wear a mask anywhere. And see how that feels in your body. Okay. Then, now try saying something in me is angry at what she did. See how that feels. Something in me is angry. Or try, part of me is sad that I have to wear a mask. Part of me is sad. Okay. Anybody want to share how that's different for you? If you felt a difference?
Is nobody going to share but me?
I guess. Thank you, Jenny.
I held off and waited for somebody. Doesn't anyone want to share?
I think they're all afraid to speak up.
All right, if you don't mind.
Social anxiety like me.
Well, what I noticed is I'm really frustrated. I'm really frustrated, and I was thinking of something, of course, Dennis did. And the more I said I'm really frustrated, I was getting ticked off. I was getting angrier. So I was feeding it. I guess what you're saying is when you identify with it personally, like I'm really frustrated, it was like feeding it.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, part of me is frustrated when Dennis, whatever, doesn't do something, it takes away the hold on me. It seems to take away the whole emotional hold on me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the idea. Yeah, exactly. Wonderful. Anybody else feel that too?
Debbie?
Maureen?
Debbie?
I guess I've always tried to balance it with, if I'm really frustrated because I have to wear a mask, but I'm so lucky I can still go to the Y.
That would
the
be a
senior center.
reappraisal.
Yeah, say it, Cindy.
Yeah. I think that's a habit that I've gotten into quite a bit.
So you feel bad and then you reappraise it to find a positive. Yeah, and yeah,
Right.
that's a way to do it too.
Instead of dwelling on something that I have no control over, to
Well,
change it really, just changing my attitude rather than the actual problem
yeah, exactly.
that I perceive as being a problem.
I got two buddies that want to talk.
Okay, good.
Now, I was thinking right away that usually when I think those things, I look at the better side of it too.
Uh-huh.
So.
Give an example.
Okay, my husband has been not well lately and I'm frustrated, but he could be a lot sicker. Yeah, things could be a lot worse.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So again, that's reappraisal. Yeah.
Debbie?
Go ahead.
I kind of do a similar thing. I have MS, and there are days when I wake up and I can't move anything. And the same kind of thing is, for me, it's just, this is just happening right now, and just in a while it'll be done. And then I'll be, it'll be over, and I'll be able to do it, move around better. Whatever,
Yeah.
it's not permanent.
So you're recognizing the impermanence, and that's very helpful too. Yeah.
You know what is interesting? Cindy's a brand newbie. Debbie's done this on her own. I've been doing it for 7, 8 years, and it must be my personality because I never think about thinking the good part. I mean, I'm learning, but I like to hang on to that. I think unconditioned, like he really ticks me off. I'm really mad at him. Why did he do that? I don't need to put up with this crap, blah, 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 blah. So obviously.
But did he really mean he was gonna do?
Well, I don't think that. I just want to be mad.
Right.
So it must be something to do with personality or conditioning or environment, or they're just smarter than I am.
I think
better, quicker learners.
All of that, Ginny. The thing is, though, to really remember that our emotions are not all of us. They're only part of us. And that's the key.
Yeah. May I? So I've mentioned this before about Don Miguel Ruiz's book, The Four Agreements, that when we get caught up in a powerful emotion, it's because we're taking it personally.
Right.
That's the second agreement. And so it's a really very important process. And I also wanted to comment that the temporary aspect is so important. I had a really rough weekend, and I sometimes check in with a grief group on Facebook, and one of the women talked about a stug, S-T-U-G. I had never heard that term before. I think it's wonderful. A sudden, temporary upsurge of grief.
Oh, she lost her husband.
And by labeling it that and focusing on the temporariness of it, it was much easier to deal with.
Wonderful. Thank you. I've not heard that before.
Well, I think this woman made it up, and I think it was wonderful.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I like it though. I like it. Because the waves come and they can be like a tsunami. And then you just ride those waves.
You know, Donna, I've shared this with the group before, but when I get, and I'm in a depression, especially if it's like a trigger, some kind of trigger, or something happens, or something bad happens. This is how powerful this is, and really kind of how serious and dangerous it is, because when I get in this rumination stage, it can take me right down the hole to suicidal thoughts. And I don't need to go there. And I don't want to go there. And that's why I think what you're saying, this is really, really important. And Aline said that too. This, am I right?
Well, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Jimmy. So, yeah. So the idea of not identifying or not taking it personally, as Aline says, also knowing that it will pass, but remembering that it's an emotion, and it has a thinking component. It has a feeling component. So focus on the feeling, and that will take you out from the rumination, because that's what the mind wants to do. It just spins out when you start trying to analyze it and figure it out.
Well, the best thing you taught me is we are not our feelings.
Right.
So when I'm feeling really depressed, suicidal, whatever, it comes to my mind as I'm not my feelings. So that's not me. Yeah. And this too shall pass. That'll pass in 90 seconds. That, I think that's really a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. As Joan Rosenberg says, she's also at Harvard, that an emotion lasts about as long as a half of a song. She said that's 90 seconds. So she said you can wait that long. Anyway, I like giving that analogy though. It lasts as long as a half a song. So let me finish up by sharing before we do the guided meditation about what happens when we actually don't allow ourselves to get stuck in our emotions or our thoughts. Okay. And in Richie Davidson's book called Altered Traits, Richie Davidson and Dan Goleman's book, he talks about the Dalai Lama, and I'll quote him. He says, I once saw tears begin to stream down the Dalai Lama's face as he heard about a tragic situation in Tibet, the latest self-immolation among Tibetans protesting the communist Chinese occupation of their land. And then a few moments later, the Dalai Lama noticed someone in the room doing something funny, and he began laughing. He said there was no disrespect for the tragedy that brought him to tears, but rather a buoyant and seamless transition from one emotion note to the next. He says the Dalai Lama's emotional life exhibits a dynamic range of strong and colorful emotions, from intense sadness to powerful joy, and that his rapid, seamless transitions from one to the other are particularly unique, and that this swift shifting betokens the lack of stickiness. I think it's, you might want to even say to yourself, I think this emotion is sticking. It's time to unstick.
Yes.
Or stug. Or
yeah, say it, Donna, say it.
What?
No, stop it.
Stop. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Or stop it. That's
there.
Right. If you guys haven't watched Bob Newhart's Stop It, please go to that video as soon as we finish this class. And see, they're laughing because they've seen it. And you laugh every time you see it. Okay, so just yeah, that's one of the the best. And that I find myself with that. If I start to notice that I'm feeling bad for a while, it's like, stop it now.
And you say it so authoritatively or whatever. Yeah. And Cindy just said, say it, Cindy.
I do that myself.
Really? Yeah. Stop it.
We're not going there.
We're not going there.
Not
Stop
going
it.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. Wonderful. That's wonderful. And then you can just be kind and gentle to yourself.
Yeah.
Yes. Debbie.
Yeah, my daughter is a health wellness teacher, and she says when I get upset about, I'll tell her something happened and it bothered me, upset me. She goes, so tell yourself, so what?
Yeah, yeah.
So what? What is that going to help? How's that going to help you or anybody else? Yeah. So Joe just says, just remind yourself, so what?
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, I haven't heard that.
And that's another way to step back. Yes, because really, in fact, in Buddhism, the root cause they describe the root cause of suffering is attachment.
Yes.
You know, and aversion. I mean, push and pull in life. That's what causes our suffering. Okay. You want something to be different than it is.
What's the Sanskrit word for that attachment? I used to know that.
Sukha, I think.
Sukha. I thought it was sukha. Yep.
I don't believe it. Anyway. Okay, so just to finish the thing about Davidson goes on to say about the Dalai Lama, one trait that emerges from living without getting stuck seems to be an ongoing positivity, even joy. When the Dalai Lama was once asked what has been the happiest point in his life, he answered, I think right now.
Yeah, I was just going to say it.
Isn't that wonderful?
Right now.
Yeah. So let's practice. Okay. So I'm going to ask everybody to mute so we have no background noise. We get to practice with our emotions. We'll start with difficult emotions and then we'll end with gladdening the mind. Okay. So let's take a good deep breath. And if you need to dim the lights in your room, feel free to do that or turn off the camera, whatever gives you most comfort. And I'll start by ringing the bell. And maybe scanning the body, releasing any areas of tension. Just inviting the body to relax. Starting with the head, moving down the neck and throat, shoulders, back, chest, belly, hips, legs, feet, and then coming back up, softening the eyes. If the eyes are open, softening the gaze, allowing the brow to expand and soften, the forehead to expand. Allowing the tongue to relax. And then bring to mind something that moderately was upsetting in some way. Nothing too strong, just moderate. Just remembering something that happened. Could be an argument with someone or something that was frustrating. And then asking yourself, what would I call this emotion? Could be anger or fear, sadness or impatience, confusion. So if, for example, it was anger, rather than saying I'm angry or I'm frustrated or I'm sad, just see how it feels to say I'm noticing something in me that is this way. I'm noticing something in me is sad or angry or confused. I'm noticing something in me that has this feeling. Just gives you a little more room to help you not identify with it. In this way, you're not labeling yourself as angry or fearful or whatever, just aware that you have those feelings now. And now see if you can notice where in the body you're feeling this physical reaction. It might be tightening in the chest or the shoulders. Could be a queasiness in the stomach. Just a pressure or tension of some sort. Achiness. Could be a tension in the throat or even heat in the face. Just seeing where in your body it affects you. If you can't find a specific place, there may be a general sense of unease that you feel all over or even around your body. So see if you can just allow whatever you're noticing to just be here. Just acknowledging, letting your awareness gently rest right where it is now, allowing it to be just the way it is. See if you can soften a reaction to the difficulty, to this situation with gentle breaths. Kind of seeing if you could be with it the same way you'd be with a child or pet who you love and you know is in distress. You might even place your hand where in the body you physically feel this difficulty the most. Meeting this experience with kindness. So we're softening and allowing. All the while knowing that allowing it doesn't mean that you like it. Simply acknowledging that this is what you're feeling right now. And now, without trying to push the difficult feeling or issue away, see if you can find somewhere in your life where things are generally okay or maybe even good. Something or someone that you're grateful for. It could have to do with a loved one or a favorite pet or past or present, a good friend, or maybe even an achievement in the past. Anything that gives you pleasure and satisfaction. So in this step, you're broadening your awareness, like panning out with wide-angle lens, including both what you're grateful for and the difficulty you began with. Creating enough space and room for both without pushing away the difficulty or clinging to the pleasant. Shifting to an even wider, more inclusive perspective, including the entire body and all of its sensations. So as we bring this meditation to a close, you can begin to bring your attention back to the group. And I'll end with ringing the bell. Okay. So does anybody, how was that guided meditation for you? Anybody want to share?
Well, the only thing I'll say is it's so much easier for me to do a guided meditation and try to do it on my own. I just really struggle with that. So I've appreciated the few I've been in with you, Donna.
Yeah.
They're all good.
I think especially when we're first beginning, guided meditations are a lot easier because otherwise the mind is just, it's like, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? Yeah. And oh my God, I've just been gone for the last 20 minutes and I didn't meditate. Right. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's a good place to start. And that's why I try to leave at least some space in there so you can have a moment of expansion, so to speak. Thank you, Maggie. Ginny, you need to be unmuted. Looks like you want to say something. So.
But I don't want to speak until other people speak.
Okay. Anybody else want to share first? How that guided meditation was for you?
There's a lot of people.
Was it easy to bring up something difficult? I can't imagine it's not. I mean, we all face things that are difficult every day.
Yeah. Donna, you have everyone muted.
I know, but they can unmute.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I just unmuted you because I knew you were far away. Yeah. Yeah. So. How about the ability to expand and include all of it at once? Is anybody able to do that?
Not so much.
Okay, Maggie, no.
Not really, no.
Hard. That was hard.
Yeah.
Actually, that's what I wanted to tell you. I really like that. I was thinking of frustration and like if someone cuts me off in traffic or someone's rude to me, my automatic response is to take it personally.
Yeah.
So I like the reminder again that, I see frustration there. But even more importantly, Donna, because I could be focusing on frustration. I like the idea of going, okay, let's think about more of a positive emotion. And so, of course, you said grateful. And because I have my friends here today, I, of course, thought how grateful I was to have them here and how grateful I wanted to tell all of you because this has become an interstate Fox River Sangha.
Right.
And we call it Fox River Sangha, the rest of you, because we are right on the Fox River in Wisconsin. We have our room where we meet has a beautiful view of Fox River.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to tell all of you, thank you for your being here. And Donna, I especially always love the emotion regulation when you talk about that and identifying it. And I just hope this was a wonderful gift that we could give to Cindy her first time doing this. And all of you, thank you for allowing us to be a part of it. Namaste.
Thank you, Ginny. And happy birthday, Cindy.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to let you know where Dennis is. He would have been here. My husband never misses, they're planning already for his 50th class year reunion, so he's getting to be an old fogey.
But he made us lunch.
Oh, but Dennis, now they all think he's just the King Tut because he made lunch for them when I didn't even ask him to.
Yay. Yeah, let Dennis know we missed him today.
Okay.
Great. So we're at the top of the hour, so I don't want to keep anybody. If you need to go, please do. But in case there's somebody who wants to share, I think, Lisa, you started to share about being able to, or just that it was hard to.
No, it was, yeah, my share was that it was, and I really think I almost kind of fell asleep a little bit. I was incredibly relaxed, even dealing with the frustration.
Okay, great. If you can fall asleep when you're feeling frustration, that's wonderful.
I know.
It works.
That as a emotion regulation, but yeah, I just fall asleep when I get angry.
That's a good one.
Well, again, it's a practice. That's what I'm.
Exactly. Exactly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dorothy, you wanted to say something?
I was just going to say it brought up anxiety when I taught kindergarten and we were out on the playground, and if the kids would fall down or anything, it would be like a punch right into my solar plexus.
Really?
And it brought that up, but it didn't really take it away. So I guess that's something to work on.
There you go. Let us know how it progresses.
Well, Donna, wouldn't it be an idea for her to deflect onto something positive? That's what you said today, right?
Yep.
So if you felt like, Dorothy, if you felt like you got punched in the stomach, acknowledge that, right, Donna? But then, let's think about what I'm grateful for, what's happening good today. Would that be right?
Well, yeah. In other words, just shifting your attention to something.
Shifting. Yeah.
Rather than staying with it. Because
okay, sounds good.
Yeah. It's just like shifting your thoughts too.
Yeah.
To think about something else. Yeah. Great. Thank you. Anyone else?
No one wants to leave, Donna. It was a good one.
Oh, good.
I think Donna, you did really good. Of course, you always do, but I really like this one. Anybody else say yay?
Thank you. I'm so glad. Emotions are really fun to talk about anyway.
I agree, and they're so important, and they can be so bad for you.
Mm-hmm. So controlling anyway, yeah.
Controlling, that's a better word. That's a better word.
Yeah. So, well, thank you all for showing up and being here and sharing, and I look forward to seeing everybody next week. Have a beautiful week.
Thank you, Donna.
Thank you, Donna.
Bye-bye.
Bye, all.
Bye-bye.
Love the heart.
Thank you.
Look at that, Lisa.
Oh.
That's lovely.
Dear.
Yeah. It's waving, a waving heart. I love it. Oh, it's good.
Bye.
Mwah.